I feel like I'm getting hammered and everybody is physical with me. And opponents get away with things that other people don't get away with. That's what Caitlin Clark said.
What I am upset about is like, hey man, your meal ticket is under constant attack.
As Caitlin Clark packs her things and bids the WNBA farewell, absolute mayhem breaks out among the fans in the league. Regardless, she was now beyond reproach. For what does she receive in return? A round of applause from incompetent officials who don't tell a foul from a flop, a slap in the face from the league, and a group of jealous haters who can't take it when she takes their thunder are all present. It's you guys who are the actual racists, not those guys. The people who are finding reasons to despise Caitlin Clark and her growing fan base. It makes sense that she wants to get out of this issue by traveling to Europe. And good for her, really. The WNBA deserves all of the drama that is approaching them if they are so willing to shoot themselves in the foot by considering its brightest star to be a disposable part. She simply isn't built for this league's brutality. She can't escape the physicality fast enough. Let's clarify one issue. A farce when it comes to officiating is this league. It's likely that they are too preoccupied with scrolling through Instagram to notice, but Clark is out there mauling like she's playing rugby and scoring 30 points every game. Players are virtually elbowing each other, and Clark is the one getting ticky-tack fouls. How come? Now, is she expected to dribble while wearing armor? The WNBA wants to be taken seriously, yet they are unable to defend the player who is making them well known. You must be joking with me. Rather than allowing Clark to be exploited as if it were a free-for-all, perhaps these so-called experts could well do their jobs. However, they would far sooner let Clark suffer than punish her for having the audacity to speak out about it. She has made it clear that she is tired of this trash, and I completely agree with her. What happens when she confronts it? It seems like the league is urging her to shut up and play more bias, more fouls. They seem reluctant to acknowledge her as the greatest thing to happen to them in years. Yesterday was Caitlin Clark's first WNBA playoff game, and she was attacked. Let's also discuss the so-called veterans who believe they can intimidate Clark into disappearing from the public eye. Really? When a rookie performs something these players have been striving to do for years, do these players automatically try to take her down a peg? Pathetic. You would think they'd be classy and respectful, but nope. They're just hurling side eyes and cheap jabs at Clark in the hopes that maybe, just maybe, he'll give up. She was made for this. As they plot like a group of cruel girls in high school, Clark is out there lighting up the scoreboard and gaining millions of fans. This young player is a rookie on the wrong team and has the necessary skill set to deal with the brutality of that league. The league, too? The league is merely allowing it to occur. It appears as though they are enjoying popcorn while watching their golden daughter get hurt and laughing at how ridiculous this whole situation is. You have a player who is elevating the WNBA's profile on its own, selling out arenas and increasing viewership. Rather than enveloping her in a protective bubble and empowering her, they're allowing her to be surrounded by haters and battered on the court. When she eventually says, you know what, I'm out, they'll pretend startled, as if they hadn't anticipated this. Milk it if Caitlin Clark is the quote-unquote golden girl and the savior. Reality is rapping on the porta-potty door. The light is finally shining on the truth, the same light that will fade here in approximately 12 hours with Caitlin Clark's elimination from the playoffs. The postseason Indiana craze was a full-fledged circus. We're talking about a squad where Caitlin Clark is producing MVP-caliber numbers. After all, she finished with 29 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds, and her teammates behaving as though the playoffs were just a high school basketball game. How is it possible for a player like Clark to give her everything on the field and still receive no encouragement from the other players? It's quite awkward. It's heartbreaking. Since Caitlin Clark is playing, she is unable to play that game. Let's begin by talking about Tammy Fagbini. Alternatively, perhaps I could say Tammy Failbini, whose performance was a masterclass in how to totally vanish when it counts. From the field, the girl did not score any points. Are you joking with me? Nothing. That's more than simply a bad night at this point. Like a professional cry for assistance. How could she have been out there doing a sociological experiment where you run out of shot clock time? Since she most definitely wasn't playing hoops. I'm angry because, you know, your meal ticket is always getting attacked. The entire season has included shady plays, and Victoria Vivians comes next, who probably believes she was trying out for the part of the invisible woman. On 2 of 10 shots, 6 points. Really, what was she hoping to accomplish? The long-lost cousin of the backboard in the stands. She appeared to be attempting to construct a home as she bricked shots outside. It's not as though she was devoid of opportunities. She was utterly incapable of converting. 2 times as many as 10 It's not basketball in the playoffs. That sounds like a call for help to remove her from the court before she causes any more harm. I'm pretty sure that moving up doesn't mean failing miserably, so if this is what she views as rising up, then our dictionaries must be different. It's critical that we make this clear. When I was speaking about Caitlin Clark this morning, I mentioned a few guys that, if you want to call them jealous, are fine with it. Okay, so you want to utilize the term jealousy. And let's not even talk about Kelsey Mitchell. This player was expected to be the right-hand scorer for Clark. However, she remained completely silent when it came time to birth. With 3 of 12 shots, 9 points. That's a complete farce for a leader. Every time she missed a chance or clanked a shot, I would have enough money to buy the entire Indiana Fever organization and dismiss everyone. Why even lace up your sneakers if you're not going to show up? Let's consider this from the appropriate angle. Gratitude is the first word that comes to mind when I think about Caitlin Clark. I really don't think Caitlin Clark is at all wrong to be frustrated. Can you picture yourself giving every game your all and then having your so-called teammates play as if scoring goals is an allergy? There must be extreme mental strain. With players around her who seem more focused in honing the art of mediocrity, how can anyone expect her to keep pushing herself? The playoffs are meant to be a moment for athletes to improve, not for them to reach new lows. I would board the first jet out of here if I were Clark. And for what purpose? It's Clark that puts the butts in the seats. 17,000 people attended her games every night. Compared to the pitiful 3,000 last year, that is 400% more. She is the actual reason the Fever have any kind of fan base. Do you have any idea how much money that makes? More than $5 million was made in ticket sales. This season, Caitlin Clark attracted over 1.8 million viewers in regular season games. But there's a ton more disappointment ahead, so I hope Kat Engelbert is prepared for that. And yet they handle her like a disposable, inexperienced worker. It's crazy. Her jersey sales broke records. She even outsold sports greats like Sue Bird. However, the league does nothing but watch helplessly as she is repeatedly beaten without acknowledging her worth. They're losing the exact player who keeps them relevant, but they're too blind to realize it. Indeed, the Indiana Fever, led by Caitlin Clark, was the most popular team in the league, both at home and away. Average fever was 17,000 degrees. Go ahead, WNBA, continue to disregard your star. Continue acting as though Caitlin Clark isn't the greatest addition to your league in 10 years. You will only be responsible for yourself when she leaves and your valuable attendance falls more quickly than Victoria Vivian's shooting percent. Savor the chaos you brought about. However, you will lose money and your league will suffer if you are unable to provide the desired level of entertainment to your audience, supply the product, and generate income. Rather than honoring a player who is essentially carrying the league on her back, they're allowing some pundits to distort the facts and say that, get ready for this, racial prejudice is to blame for her success. It's been a lot of rubbish, to be honest. I don't think I've ever encountered racist remarks from Indiana Fever supporters in my 11-year tenure. You know, it's intolerable, to be honest, that we had her face on a terrible problem that occurred in this planet. Indeed, it has no place there. Yes, because skin color must be the main factor behind setting records, drawing large audiences and inspiring people to care about the WNBA, right? What a pitiful pretext. Every game Clark plays, she works magic, and those who are critical of her are too preoccupied with their own small grievances to recognize her true ability. It's not her color that makes her dominant. She's a total baller. That's why she's doing this. It is an attempt to harm Caitlin Clark. Due to the extreme racism of her fan base, Caitlin Clark is the incorrect face for this league. Where have I previously heard this argument? And how did the league react? Merely ignoring it. However, it doesn't end there. Let's discuss Clark's experience officiating, which has been nothing but a joke. Recall the episode with the poked eye. Yes, she was almost blinded by a fellow player. What is this? A match between WWE fighters? Are they anticipating the arrival of a steel chair as well? These so-called referees merely stood there, presumably arguing over what to eat for lunch, while Clark is briefly rendered blind. And when she swats at the basketball, the woman for some reason chooses to stab Caitlin Clark in the eye with her hand and her fingernails. No referees pausing the game to look, and no foul calls. Is this blatantly inappropriate? Not at all. Everyone simply went on. It's quite awkward. It's careless and reckless. You would think that your best player being attacked on the court might warrant a more serious response, but I'm not sure. But nope, not in this league's clown show. What then is the outcome of this catastrophe? The entire rookie season for Clark has been a nightmare filled with crude plays, derogatory remarks, and awful officiating as the league's executives fidget. They built a poisonous atmosphere where hatred and jealousy are free to flourish and are directed directly against Clark. I'm only stating that marketing vs. basketball is the problem. The advantages of playing basketball against the advantages of considering marketing when making decisions. And what do you know? Clark can take no more. She's already discussing taking a ship straight to Europe. Is it possible for anyone to blame her? Who wouldn't want to be done with their rookie season when it feels more like an endless beating than the exciting experience it should be? A new beginning far from the prejudice, the ignorance, and the league that has done nothing at all to safeguard her. The emotional cost has got to be enormous. You can learn all there is to know about how badly the WNBA is handling this situation from the fact that she is even thinking about quitting. 14,000 people follow her. Additionally, the majority of people are unaware of her in the athletics world, and it's really simple to disregard. Caitlin Clark is the only reason anyone is even aware of her identity. Furthermore, she still only has 14,000 Twitter followers. Her brand isn't very strong. However, let's see how the league reacts when Clark bids goodbye and packs her things. Then, what occurs? Empty seats, declining ratings, and a league in freefall. Clark played for more than just them. They came back to life thanks to her record-breaking plays, star power, and jersey sales brought the WNBA back into the public eye. And they're letting her get away from them now. I wish you luck in recovering from it. The league needs to wake up quickly, because all they'll have left after the dust settles will be an enormous mess and a great deal of remorse.